Electrician Live with your host, Paul Abernathy and Jay Grunberg.
What up, everybody? Again, welcome back. Obviously, I have no clue what I'm doing tonight, and it certainly isn't from me smoking the doobies up in Colorado, because I don't have the luxury of that, and boy, what I could do with a joint right now. But I don't, so welcome back. My name's Paul Abernathy. If you don't know who I am, and with me, my cohort in crime, Mr. Jay Grunberg, and I got music for you, Jay. Hold on, you ready? Here's his walkout music. Oh, wait a minute, that said Ask Paul, not Jay. I'm sorry. Wrong music there. Anyway, see, everything's messing up tonight. Anyway, thanks for joining us, hanging in there with us. I guess not so bad, 19 minutes into it, and I screw everything up, and of course the original link doesn't work, so is what it is, right?
You know, I would say about the 18 to 20 minute mark is when everybody starts coming in, so...
Oh, there you go. Yeah, hey, but the old links probably won't work. So anyway, but if you go to the channel, it shouldn't really matter. It just cycles up. Hey, so right. Anyway, welcome to the show. Again, sorry for all the technical difficulties. I will figure out what the heck is going on with that and hopefully get it fixed so I don't have to go through that again. Welcome to the show. We have a great show for you tonight. We're going to be talking college versus trade school, and kind of Jay's thoughts, on trade school, my thoughts, and obviously going the college route and trade school and doing all those type of things. Some thoughts that we have on that. We'll give some. Feel free to chime in the chats. But how do you want to start this? How do you want to start this thing off, Jay?
Well, I think it's important to give a shout out to any sponsors that we have for tonight.
Oh, yes.
If you want to.
Sure. So Electrician Pride, again, sponsoring all that good swag. I have a lot of new stuff over on electricianpride.com, and I will forego the commercial. I'm sure they won't mind. I won't mind. We won't mind. But again, if you want some cool swag, had a bunch of stuff go out this week. So go over to electricianpride.com and give it a look-see, that type of thing. So
awesome.
All right.
So the topic for tonight is what does the future look like for our trade? And this is actually a good question that everybody should be asking themselves, whether you're an apprentice coming in, maybe whether you're in a residential wireman, maybe you're a journeyman, maybe you're a master, and maybe even you're an electrical contractor. This is kind of a topic that doesn't really get discussed around the industry as much as we would like. And I want to hear your thoughts on it because, again, your era of electricians coming up, maybe it was booming. Maybe you guys at one point were at an all-time high, whereas even now in the trade, it feels like we don't have enough electricians in the field.
Well, there's a lot of them that are in my age bracket or whatever are starting to cycle out of the trade. So some of them are getting close to retirement age. Some of them, have moved on into ownership roles. And so obviously they're doing some office work or they're doing some, plan review or they're doing some design stuff. And it's not so much turning the wrenches and tightening the screws as much as we used to. But I do know that what happens is you start having, a issue like we had COVID, and then of course you have people getting laid off, and then you turn around and people start saying, "Well, how do I prepare for when we?" And I was telling people, get your education, get your training, because this is going to end eventually. It's going to end, and you're going to have to get back to work. And once we all started booming again, then we have a trade shortage. We don't have enough skilled labor. Anyways, I focus on electricians. We just don't have enough to keep it up. And the problem with that is we start allowing people that aren't as skilled to do some of the work. And then that's where we start having problems, and it gives all of us a bad name. So it's all about getting adequately trained and all those opportunities, those type of things. So,
and when you're coming in the trade, was trade school a requirement?
No, so back when, early on, before we went through this mode where it seemed like every school is pushing their kids to college. All right, get a construction management degree or get this or that. So even in their 11th and 12th grade, they're pushing them to go to college. And not every kid is destined for college. And
right.
Not every kid needs to go to college. But it always... One of those things where I know people that go to college and get a 4-year degree and absolutely nothing that they choose to do in life. And now they've got this piece of paper, but it's not going to put bread on the table. Not what they want. So, when I was going through school, for me, the trade was, first of all, I was not the greatest teen in school at all. I was always in trouble. And so I could have easily gone down the wrong path. And, I was able to get hooked up in a trade school, and it was a 2-year program where we went 5 days a week. And that saved me because that gave me something, to really shoot for. I didn't go to school until later, right? I didn't go to school until later. So other than that, you got a dog infiltrating you. Jay's being attacked by the dog. The dog in the background attacking him.
The trick is to throw water at him so he doesn't bark so much.
That's all right. He's to the way tonight went. He's welcome to the show. I say it. So, but yeah, back then, trade was pushed a lot more. Get your trade. Get out there so you can make a living, make some money.
Sure. One of the chatters, they want to know what's the average age of an electrician nowadays.
Ooh. Well, I can tell you statistically, what comes to my website is tracking electricians is anywhere between 28 and 35. So I can't give you a specific date, but that's kind of the range when I'm looking at the demographics of people that are in our programs, coming to our websites, interacting at, questions and all. We kind of track a lot of things, and that's generally 28 to 35 is the range, and I would say is the average for that. I mean, you got the apprentices coming in that are, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, up to 25, start getting a bit cocky at about 27, 28, 29, and, and 28 through 34 is where they actually start learning the trade, the real good part of the trade where they really start focusing, honing their skills. And then after that, I say, put in as much knowledge and time in as you can up front, because it's going to pay dividends on the back end, right? So take all the classes you can, learn everything you can. And today it's a little different, Jay, than it was when I was there. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have videos. We didn't have any real books that were worth a crap. Okay.
Right.
So, I mean, heck, I remember back then, I think half the books I read were probably that we read in class were so old and again, theory is theory, but it's just wasn't really good illustrations, graphics, and also get as much as you can and focus on it. That type of thing. But, we have kids, and, the question, you have some young ones, the questions they grow up, and it's like, do you want to go to college? Or do you want to learn a trade? We want them to learn something. Otherwise, you always want your next generation to have as much or better than what you had. And if they're coming out and they're not getting a trade, a skill, or something like that, or they're going through a 4-year college and they're not coming out with any worthwhile degree that's going to give them anything, then it's pretty tough. I'd rather have somebody getting a trade and earning $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year. That's what I'd prefer.
Yeah, there's a statistic, again, this is off the internet, but they're saying from the America will face a shortage of electricians in the near future. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They're saying that every year, 10,000 electricians go out of the trade, whereas 7,000 come into the trade.
Yeah, it's never going to catch up. More go out than come in, and yeah, that's why, I throw big props to the IBEWs, the NECAs, the IECs, all of those organizations that are trying their darndest to cycle in electricians and get them trained up. And because we have a shortage of skilled labor. People are leaving out of the trade, whether it's retirement or things, those things are just for some other reason pulling out of the trade at their later. So we're losing all of those folks. Okay.
Right. And I think you're right with the age group. I have a few guys that are under 28, and I've lost, when the turnaround ratio in our company is not very high, but for the people that have come and gone, I would say their age bracket was in between that 18 to 25.
Right.
They just didn't find a home with us. Whereas in some of the guys now, we probably average between that 28 to 35. And I just really think that when you're at that age, that 28 to 30, you know what life is now. You have to like almost make that path that you want to go to. Are you going to continue going down the same, maybe labor ready, maybe you're doing fast food, maybe your current position isn't as stable as you'd want it to be. And I say these things because I've done them. I've done the labor, I've done the fast food, I've done the McDonald's, the Subways, the day labor where you get paid $50 a day. When you get back, they pay you, and you have to be the first one in line for the first 5 in order to get a job. So, I mean, I've been there and I've done that. And so now when I was 32, I believe I started getting my license.
What was that, last week, Jay? Were you 32?
I'm 37 now. So 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we started Wired Up. Well, before then, I was into the electrical trade, and I didn't even know if I wanted to stick around and do it when I started at 22. So It took me a long time to bounce around through multiple jobs, and that was electrical jobs and other jobs, to really know what I wanted. And so I think you're right. That 28 to 35 is that zone that people want to come in, and they usually stick with it. One of the listeners is afraid that we're going to lose a lot of the great electricians because of retirement. But do you think, with that being said, and with the IECs and the younger generation and the technology and the YouTube, is there an advantage to that for these younger guys coming into the trade? Do you see, even though we're losing some, can they keep up with it because of the technology? And
well, when you take some electricians and you retire them out, you lose a lot of institutional knowledge that goes with them when they leave. However, I will say today the education factor is so much higher. Not the stuff that that we teach, but with all the people that teach different things. The Mike Holtz, the Ryan Jacksons, the Phil Simmons, the Stalcup brothers, or Stalcup and his son, all those different ones. Everybody that's got things that are going out. The education bar has just raised so much higher now. And the ICC programs, the NICA programs, the IBW programs, union or non-union, either or, different programs for training, have really stepped up and raised the bar. So I think what we're putting out as a replacement for the retirement is we're actually putting out probably technically more savvy electricians than the ones that are leaving. They might know the tips and the tricks and the, this and this and, duct tape fixes everything mentality. But this newer, younger generation is sharp. They are sharp. Yeah. Now, if I could keep them from screwing around on job sites, if I could keep them from, if I could get the younger folks, if my only plea to the younger generation is to take your trade a little more serious, and they go, life is short, Paul, you got to do that off work, but keep this profession highbrow as possible as we can, the electrical trade, so that it stands out as such. I get it. People are young. People want to cut up. I get it. And, you take the safety part out of it. I preserve the profession, that type of thing, because it is a great profession to be in.
Yeah.
And there's so many wings you can go into, man. I can tell you young folks out there that are listening, when I say young, guys that are in their late 20s and 30s and early 40s, to me, young, you could switch on a dime, right? The direction that you go in this trade, whether it's service work, whether or not it's new construction, remodel, whether or not you just wanted to do special off something, come up with something, do data control, whatever you wanted to do. generators, PV. There's so many opportunities that you can take. They all start with the root of electrical. And so I think you just have so many opportunities. Talk about college. There's hard pressed today for people to be able to own their own business. But electricians have a path, even if you've had a shaky youth coming up. And, you have, sometimes we want people to be able to find that right path, right? So we're struggling through life. We're in trouble all the time. You may have had some brush-ins with the law. You just kind of struggle. And all of a sudden you grab onto something or gravitate to something. And if you put everything into it, a beautiful thing comes out on the other end. And I know many of electricians that reached out to me that we've helped through the years that they'll say, Paul, I don't know where I'd be right now if I didn't find electrical trade. For me, it literally saved my life. I can tell you, all the way back then and back in the 80s. So, and that's probably why, obviously I sell courses, so I have to make a living, but I try to give away as much of my time as I can to try to give back to the trade, because it has been such a blessing for me, most certainly. So, yeah, two paths.
Mike, what's that?
Two paths, though, because I don't think that everybody needs to go to college. I didn't decide to do it until I had such a great opportunity to do it, and they were going to give me credit for being licensed and a master and all this stuff, that I was able to forego the lab work necessary in the program that I went to. So I wouldn't have done it if they hadn't had that boost. If they had said I had to start from the beginning, I tell you, even the ones that go to school today, it's still a tough gig to go, and put in 4 years. So I was lucky. I had help. Anybody else probably wouldn't, that type of thing. I hit it at the right time, and I had enough credentials that somebody looked at and said, that type of thing, but gave me a lot of credit for stuff that I'd already done as time spent or like classroom hours. Hard to find that today. Colleges don't want to give you basically credit for life experience. You don't see that anymore today. But there was a period in time when they were accepting that and really working with that, and I just happened to fall right into that. Today, I'd have hard pressed to be able to even do that today, that type of stuff. So, two different paths, but we definitely need trade people. I respect all the trade people out there trying to bust their butt every day in this trade. Especially today, it was 100 degrees in Texas again, so I can't imagine out there sweating it out.
I got some numbers I'm just gonna throw out there again. This is all Colorado based. This is all Colorado requirements. So
shoot,
we'll talk about the trade school. Here in Colorado, you need 288 hours of electrical education. So whether that's in class, sit down, or whether that's online, that's kind of what's nice about today's technology is you can go home after a day of work and sit down in front of your computer, log in, and do that 4 hours of education. Whereas when I was doing it many years ago, we would always have to drive to the facility. You're driving to that school, whether it was whatever location you're at, whether it's in Colorado Springs or I believe it was in North Glen, and it still is. So you were driving to that facility after work. So you had to get off at a certain time. You had to beat traffic. You had to sit there and wait. You had to get a bite to eat. Now you're in class at 5:30. You're getting out at 9:30, and you're driving home. And by the time you get home and settled in, it's already 11 o'clock. And for us commercial electricians, you were back out at 6. So I do like that they went to the online schooling, which that's what I have all of our guys in.
Sure.
But with that being said, you need 288 hours. And what that is that's 2 years at the IEC schooling. And what this requirement is for is for the journeyman's electrician, not for your residential. Here in Colorado, you don't need schooling to apply for your residential electrical contract or license, or not contractors, your residential wireman license. You just need 4,000 out in the job training hours. Pretty much, job training is what you need for a residential wireman.
So what are they up to the 4,000 level if they're working for you? Are they just helpers? Are they just apprentices? What are they before they get to that 4,000 hours?
Get to that 4,000. That's a good question. So what you are in the state of Colorado is through DORA is you are an electrical apprentice, and that's it. And that goes whether you're doing commercial, you're doing industrial, or you're doing residential. The first step for you is to go to DORA, register, and have a company kind of claim you like a free agent would claim, someone on a team or whatnot. And then that's when you start your apprenticeship. And really it's up to your, the job you work, the company you work for, to keep track of those hours and to be able to fill out that form properly to make sure that electrical apprentice is getting the right hours. And I think that's called an affidavit.
Right.
That's what you get. You get your affidavit. So again, is school required? No. If you only want to be a residential wireman in the state of Colorado, you don't have to go to school. And a lot of companies do not put their guys in school. What we like to do is we like to give you the option to grow. We like to start people off fresh. I've talked to you about this before. It's nothing new. We bring guys in. We keep them for about a year. Well, they stay with us for about a year, hopefully, and then we enroll them in school ourselves. And that allows them to grow, because you need actually 8,000 hours of on-the-job training to be a journeyman electrician, which pretty much is equivalent to 4 years out in the field.
Right.
So residential, 2 years. Journeyman, 4 years. Schooling, you only need 2 years, but that's only for your journeyman. So again, it does get complicated, but let's look at the numbers, for example. I want to switch to cost now.
Well, wait a minute. Is there a master's in your state?
So there is a master's. There is a master's electrician. You have to have your journeyman's license for 1 solid year. Right. And you have to have you have to have a contractor, again, an electrical contractor, write the affidavit for you explaining what your tasks were, because you have to have a certain amount of layout, a certain amount of hours of layout, a certain amount of hours of project managing, running crews. So, the state holds a certain requirement of level of experience for you to become a master's. And then once you get your master's, you can either still work for someone. Just because you have your master's doesn't mean you can pull permits in the state of Colorado. You still have to register as an electrical contractor and then get the proper insurance and so on and so forth. But
that's pretty common everywhere. Yeah,
you are right. There's that steps. There's the residential wireman, the journeyman, the master, the electrical contractor.
Yeah, and we have this similar in Texas, and it's similar. Virginia just has journeyman and master. So different, Texas, we have about 8 different licenses, that you can achieve. But, Virginia, just 2, journeyman or master. But yeah, but the interesting thing about what you were saying is all of that doesn't seem like it requires a college degree to do any of that, right?
No.
So
no, but if you take those out of that 288 hours, now IEC will tell you, we use IEC and other organizations will tell you that you finish that schooling, and that, again, that's only 2 years. You can go up to 4 years. So you would times that by 2, it's 500 something hours. You can use that towards an associate's degree.
Okay.
So again, we have guys, my question is, you say whether you want to go to trade school or whether you want to go to college. Some of my guys are wanting to do both. They want to start off with the trade school because, again, if you look at cost for a trade school, it's about $35,000 to $4,000.
Well,
that's
like
it annually, a year.
Well, like I said, I went trade school first and then transitioned later. Never left the trade, but I wouldn't have been able to do it if I didn't have the backbone of the trade. I mean,
right.
If I had to put in the time it takes to get the degree without getting without having, did coursework, and this was back when we used Blackboard, folks, and it was way back. So if I didn't get credit, they didn't give me credit for certain things that I've done, I wouldn't have had the ability because I had to work. I had to feed the family. I had to do everything as well. So, so the great opportunities, if you want to, that's the beautiful thing. Life is short. If you have opportunities, you take it. So if you're going to get college credits for this, and you're still learning a trade, and that's what it works by being in a program like the IEC program or something like that, then obviously take advantage of that. Once you get the trade and you get your trade, you can decide if you want to continue on and finish a degree or not and work in the trade. That's totally up to you how you want to do it. But what I don't like is pushing people directly out of high school into, while they're in 11th and 12th grade, telling them that they need to be in a college program and start getting college credits and pushing all this kind of stuff on them, when college is not for everybody, right?
And you'll know if college is for you because you'll have high grades and you'll enjoy school.
Yeah,
Some of
enjoy
us,
it. I was in 12th grade. I was
grades, we didn't enjoy school. So,
yeah. So,
like my son, for example, he rocking C's all year. And you know what?
C's?
And you pass, B's and C's. Do I think he has a future in college if he finds something he shows interest in? But if not, I won't go, Xavier, you need to go to college. To me,
that's too much pressure. I don't know why parents do that, but
yeah,
I never did.
It not only is it pressure, it puts you in debt. So here in the state of Colorado, you're looking about $12,000 for an in-state college, $12,000 a year. If you're from out of state, you're almost doubling that with $24,000 just for 1 year. And then let alone a private school at about $40,000. College or trade school is $4,000. So you do all 4 years, you're looking about $16,000 in 4 years. And most of the time, you'll link up with a company like ourselves, Wired Up, who will pay for your college or your trade school. Sorry, not college, but your trade school. Now, again, we ask that you pay for your books. We kind of have a little bit of an agreement in there. We'll pay for your annual actual fee, but you pay for your books. So it kind of works out. Because, again, we're residential. We try to keep these guys going. But like I was telling you before, a few of my guys, their plans are to finish the 4 years of IEC, get the associate's credits, or get the credits to put towards his associates. And some of them want to go into electrical engineering like yourself.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So what do you think the advantage is of that? What do you think the advantage is of going into a trade school first and then possibly going into an actual college?
Okay, so if they're going to do electrical engineering, I will tell you, most of the time, electrical engineering school is all about the dynamics, all about design, very little or nothing about code. They really, as a design engineer, if you don't have a good understanding of how things are built, how things are laid out, then you're already working at a disadvantage. So I have tons of engineering friends, electrical engineering friends that struggle because they can't visualize something. They can't, in their mind, picture raceways and trapezes and how they run. They just can't. So they struggle more with it. They get good at it, but they had to struggle at it. Whereas if somebody working in trade, so when I went into it, I was already heavy. I mean, I knew the trade. I knew work and was heavy into it. It was an easier transition for me. But at the end of the day, yeah, so somebody going into trade and want to transition into college, it's probably an easier transition than the other way. Taking somebody that's been working and all of a sudden doing engineering, decide they want to get into tools and strap on their tools and go into the field, they're going to struggle because you're not taught those things in engineering school. You have a lot of electives you can take, but that's generally not one of them. And, now they're teaching more code, which should go hand in hand with the physical aspect of it. But I tell kids today, I think that the programs that are in high school, again, aren't as popular as they were back when I mean, they're still out there. Okay. But I went to a school called K-Tech and it's Charlottesville Albemarle Technical Education Center, Vocational Center. And I went for 2 full years. If I hadn't done that, but I had to be dedicated because I had to go to early morning school to do my Englishes and history so I could get off the rest of the day to do the schooling because I was also the student aide and student teacher and all this kind of stuff as well. So I was committed. But I knew what I wanted to do. I think somebody posted most 18, 19-year-olds haven't a clue what they want to do. They think they know what they want to do, but you don't. And the whole point of that is those guys that want to go to college in 2 years, life changes dramatically in 2 years. Are all of you anywhere you were at that you thought you would be 2 years ago, 3 years ago? It's just in it, turn on a dime. It can go to greatness or it can go to crap. You just have to watch it and try to forecast it so you can divert it. Luckily for me, I've always had a way of looking into the future a little bit and seeing which ways I need to go.
That's a little crystal ball.
Little crystal ball. Paul's little crystal ball. crystal, my little crystal skull, and
Yep.
And learn where I want to go to kind of charter my life a little bit. But electricity has always been my backbone. Always been it. So I would say, yes, trade school will definitely help you as you go if you decide you want to go into engineering school. But with that said, there are some mathematical issues and algebraic stuff that you're going to make sure that you understand before you get there, or you will be struggling a little bit, that type of thing. It's all doable, though.
Yeah, and IEC will put you through a math exam before they register you in their school, or allow you to. You'll register with them. You'll take an assessment. If you don't pass, then they'll put you through a crash course, and you'll be able to take it again before the semester starts. So I like what they did. Again, sometimes we need refresh.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
My other point or my other topic I want to go on was, with high school, coming out of high school, you say, okay, a lot of parents give their kids two options. They say, okay, you got to go to school. Well, three. You got to go to school, get a job, or join the military.
Which is not a bad option. Probably, I don't know what's happening now in the world. I don't know if I want to be in the military, but growing out of school, I did have that option. In fact, when I became a master electrician, I was still young and I had my businesses. Owned a kennel, as most people know, or a boarding kennel with my wife. We ran that. And on the other side was my electrical firm and design firm. And I had a guy come to me. I was fairly young. Came to me and he said, he was one of our customers. He was a recruiter, and he came to me and says, you'll go into. And I went and met with him, thinking, okay, do I really want to fight this hustle every day? I was doing electrical, but I was doing work during the day and doing electrical at night, and dragging my wife out there to help in the evening with other, can relate. And he said, I will guarantee you an E6. And if you come in and you'll be in electrical, you'll do what you're doing now, but you'll be in there and you can go right into that. And that sounded really great until I realized they tell me when I can get up, when I can go, what I can do, what I can. You got to go by there. And I was still in that mode where I'm my boss. I want to do what I want to do. And so I didn't do it. Hindsight, great to put in at least 4 years in there, because they have programs where they'll pay for your college, things like that, teach you a lot of skills, trade, very technical in there. So, I mean, that's not a bad option. Do it during peacetime though. Don't, but it's not a bad option. I'm sorry. You go ahead. You were.
No, I just don't think that that's your only option. I don't think that going to a big college or the military is the only option out of high school. And even sometimes when you're 20, 22, 24, you want to go do a handyman, landscaping, you want to do labor work. That's always good too. Just getting out there and getting a feel for it is good to be out there. But I really think that even Michael said, would you recommend learning multiple trades? It doesn't hurt. If you want a career in that, if you want to be a handyman, if you want to have multiple licenses, what do they call it when you do electrical, heating, and plumbing? What is that? The trifecta? What do they call that? When you pretty much have a license for all three of them, you're covering pretty much the MEPs.
Well, I don't know the name for it, but I mean, there's a lot of general contractors who can dabble in all that. But I know guys that own companies that did that, and they were electrical guys, but they learned plumbing and they learned mechanical. So they opened up an outfit and they did everything. Right. Yep. So they had they would get the plumbing business, the mechanical business, the electrical business. They didn't want the building business. They just, they wanted all the trades. Okay. And quite interesting that to be a framer, you don't need any license, but you have to have a license to be a plumber or mechanical. Right. So the building could fall down, but
all the MEPs have to be installed per code.
Per code. So. Now, granted, there's the building inspections and they have to do it right. But I'm saying, as far as a licensure, holding a license, I mean, they got to get a builder license, but they don't have any tests like we would test, for our trades, that type of thing. So And again, you have a lot of what I'd call helpers, framers, learning the trade, things like that are building the majority of the houses. I can tell you right now in Texas, the boom in building, there's no master framer on all these projects. They're just following, because me and my wife looked at one the other day. I swear the house was leaning. It just something didn't look right. And I was like, glad I'm not in there working on that house. Something just didn't look right. But anyway, so at any rate, yeah, there are options, and you have many options out there. So don't let anybody tell you don't. And if you're in the trade and you're working and you've been putting in the time, and you hit a rough spot, don't give up on it. It's still the greatest. To me, it's the greatest trade out there. And it is what you make it. Some people goof around so much that it doesn't feel like a noble trade to them, but it is. Take it with pride and take it, that type of thing. I think it's been very good to me, no doubt. So, I'm very appreciative of this trade. What are some of these questions we got coming in, Jay?
It looks like Hartsfield said the best engineers are guys that have had previous experience out in the field, pretty much. And I agree with you. To be honest with you, I think designers should have electrical experience out in the field, but they don't. Anyways, because a designer can come in and go, okay, I don't like that 6-inch. Let's do a 4-inch because 4-inch is cool nowadays, or maybe a 5-inch, or now they don't want this. Anywho, the designers, they need to go into the field for a little bit. But you're right. If the engineer has electrical experience background, most likely they're more proactive. They're more easier to talk to on the phone because they've probably ran it and done it.
It's not a given though, because I've met some that are in the trade and they that are designers and they still don't get it. But I mean, it's not a given. But again, it certainly would be a leg up for certain people that definitely like that. So, what else we got going on here in the questions? Oh, we also should say, everybody, thanks for coming in and putting up with our issues when I came on earlier. I don't know what's going on, but I found a quick workaround for the audio. So, what are we doing about copper prices? I don't know. It's $4.50 a pound for copper. It ain't going down, bro. So, might as well get.
What are we doing about copper prices? We're charging more money on projects. That's all you can do.
Up. Prices going up.
And if they ask if it's going down,
what is it? Edgar?
Yeah, Edgar.
Edgar passed his exam. What did he do? It last Saturday? Congratulations, Edgar. Congratulations on that. Sky's the limit, my friend. Keep learning. You obviously here. You passed it last Saturday, and you're still coming to Electrician Live. So that's dedication right there. That's
awesome.
That's keep it going. We never stop learning. I tell you what, I learn something new every day. It's something new to learn in this field. And what I tell people, challenge yourself. Pick something that you find tough for you and really sit down and try to learn it. If you find that transformers is tough, don't shy away from it. Don't run from it. Okay? If somebody was to have a conversation with you and talk about something that makes you feel uncomfortable because you're not sure about it, you don't understand harmonics, you don't understand how that works, research it, immerse yourself in it. It's a beautiful thing. And I think that's, we need more of that, just to immerse yourself into it. Of course, everybody's got life going on, families and everything else. But at the end of the day, I mean, that's what it's all about. Immerse yourself into this trade, that type of thing.
Yeah, I think once you're done with your college, if you're going to a big college and you finish your big college, kind of like your learning stops there. You go out into the field, and I'm pretty sure you learn new things as well. But there's not an industry like electrical that changes. And we're always trying to find energy efficient ways to supply these houses. We're always trying to find. We're always craving that better new technology.
Sure.
And we're always advancing. And that's a great thing with the younger generation too, whether they're at a manufacturer or they're out here in the field learning, going to school. We have the capability of learning pretty fast and getting information out there super fast. So it's very impressive with the electrical industry and how far you can grow. It seems like it just never stops. So
yeah.
You're not even paying for the experience. You're getting paid to learn how to do these things. So it's almost the opposite of actually going to an actual school, where when you're done, you're in debt. So, and what other job other than other trades can you go out, be in school, and still have hands-on experience out in the field? And that's the reason why we tell our guys, we give them a 1-year expectation before we put them into school, because I want you to go into the first year of schooling knowing what 14.2 NMB is, knowing what 12.2 MC is, knowing what a hammer is, kind of just knowing the trade.
Yeah.
If you've been in the trade for a year, first year should be pretty easy. So we like to set our guys up for success.
Yeah, in a perfect world, I'd have an academy somewhere with students that could come and learn wiring, and I would love to teach all the little things before I die someday. I would love to
just have a nice building, huh? And then have like little
like I had back when I was in trade school. We had the little 2x4 framed out with the panel. We had and I go around and really I would love to do that. I was asked, actually the story was that I came out of vocational school. They asked me to take over that program, and because my mentor was retiring, and they were like, "Paul, we'd like you to take it over." and I went to him and I said, "What do you get paid?" And he told me what he got paid, and I said, "Not." See you, boss. Because they don't pay them enough to teach a trade. So it just wasn't in the cards. I was going to go out and make more money in the field. Me and my brother are starting our company. I wasn't going to sit there and do that. Now today, you get older, I think it's great to teach people. It's your duty to pass on something to somebody else. That's the way I feel about it. People are too guarded. They don't want to share things because they're worried. They're worried about their job security. See, for me, it's all BS to me. I'm always wanting to teach something. You know what I mean? Yeah. I always want to teach something to somebody else, and I don't want nothing in return. Just teach them something, give them a tip. Hartfield, I don't know that I've heard from anybody, but again, I appreciate you recommending us. I do appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that recommends my academy. Hopefully it's been helpful to you.
What's up, O?
Yep. Oh, welcome.
O's in the house. It looks like another Edgar MG passed his exam last Saturday as well. So that's 2 Edgars.
Yeah. Got the double Edgars in there tonight.
Double Edgars.
Awesome. Yeah. But,
so
at the end of the day, that's, you have options.
Here's my issue with people not teaching other guys the trade. It's almost like
teaching. It's almost like because teaching or not sharing their knowledge.
Well, both. They kind of both go hand in hand with each other. The thing is maybe you weren't taught when you were first year, kind of like myself, first, second year. I was kind of digging trenches a lot, working for a big commercial company. Really didn't learn a lot, but as I continue to grow and advance, I would hear guys, they would say, "Oh, I just don't want to teach this guy because I'm not going to have him for more than a week or more than a month." So I just don't want to.
I'm not going to put my time in it.
I don't want to show him my tricks.
I'm not going to invest my time in him because he's not going to be here.
Right.
How can you determine that yet? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to put the time in regardless. And I think something that Nick said, I believe Nick said it, was right. For all those that don't want to teach, if you're good enough at what you do, and you're good enough that everybody around it knows that you're good enough at what you do, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Just share that knowledge.
I'm pretty sure you're not keeping your job because you know 1 or 2 tricks. You're not keeping your job because you know 1 or 2 tricks. Why you're keeping your job is because you've invested in the trade and the company's invested in you, and you probably have a license and you're good at what you do. Pass it down to the younger guys, man. Just let them have a little bit of knowledge, and you'll be surprised what confidence these guys can go. I always tell my guys, you're only as good as your weakest link. If you keep going, oh man, I Josh doesn't know how to do lights, and he's just very new at it, and I don't, I just want to keep him on something simple so we can keep going. It's like, no, take a step back and just show him, teach him, be there with him, and and you're getting paid to train as well. So
yeah. Well, Edgar makes a good point. You know, a lot of, like I said, the old guys want to say it's job security, and they don't want to teach the younger guys because of job security. So here's my message to the younger folks. Yeah. Piss on the older folk. Obviously, what they want to share isn't worth it. They don't want to share the knowledge. Chances are they don't have a clue anyway, because the education you're getting today is much better than the education they probably got. So what do? You immerse yourself in every opportunity you can. Watch every video you can. Okay? Read every opportunity, read every article you can on something. And if you read an article on electrical and you don't understand it, reach out to somebody else and ask them, please explain this to me. Don't go to that old guy. Go to somebody else. Now, don't throw me in that category of old guy, because I'm more than happy to teach you. But you know what I mean? Go to somebody who's willing to teach you. There's a lot of educators that don't want to teach you. But reach out and try to thirst for knowledge. Because that's the benefit that the younger generation, the ones that are 28 to 35, that's the benefit they have. There is so much information out there now to learn this trade that we did not have. Those electricians that are older, that are cycling out, they didn't have the benefit of that knowledge.
That's right.
Chances are they might know some tips and tricks. But again, maybe what they've got to teach you, you really don't need to know. Think of it that way. I don't want to learn somebody's bad habits. I don't want to learn somebody else's rule of thumb. I don't want to learn somebody else's, well, this is the way I always did it. You know what I'm saying? Yep. I want to learn the right way from the right people. And maybe if that person doesn't want to share something with you, then maybe in your mind you got to say, obviously there's nothing I need to learn from that individual. And you know what? You're going to outshine that person, because you're going to be hungry for knowledge. You're going to watch the videos. You're going to read the books. You're going to do all of that, and you're going to gain that knowledge that they never had. So that conversation at the water cooler is going to be pretty bad when you start throwing out this newfound knowledge that you learn because you're seeking it out, and they're old school and they don't have any clue what you're talking about. Yeah, they might be awesome at bending conduit because they've done it for 50 years. They might be awesome. But do they know the nuances behind why we do what we do and things like that? That's what you can learn. You have plenty of tools out there to learn that without getting knowledge. Now, do I like the old people sharing? Absolutely.
Of course.
But if they don't want to, piss on them. Learn it yourself. It's your opportunity. Immerse yourself in it. And that's why I tell young folks today, don't take pride in your trade. Treat it as such. Wear nice shirts. Look the part. Feel the part. We always seem to feel good if we look good. You know, you see the plumber running around looking sloppy, the mechanical guy running around looking sloppy. You don't need to look sloppy.
Oh.
You know, be that guy that the plumbers in the HVAC, not the down plumbers in HVAC. I'm using an example here. Have them be the guys that talk behind your back, right? Have them say, oh, "Look at Jay. Who does he think Jay is? Look at him wearing all those nice shirts and khakis or nice boots. You know, who does he think he is? You know who he thinks he is? Damn electrician, brother. That's who he is." Right. So at the end of the day, you know, being an electrician to me is why I created that saying called the Electrical Brotherhood. That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
We're all united by one thing. It's this amazing thing. Even if we all want to argue back and forth and my work looks prettier than yours, my work looks prettier than yours, yeah, we're all still of the same fraternity, right? Same family, electrical. All have that same drive, all like doing the work. It didn't get any better than that. So
no, Mike Schwartz says he's always trying to train his helper to be better than he is, so that he can pretty much go to sleep at night knowing that he gave someone a trade or helped build them in the trade is what I'm getting out of that. And that's a great mentality. And what an honor that is to be able to reflect on someone's life, especially someone younger than you, who a lot of times they don't even have knowledge of the trade. So they're trying to do anything and everything to please you. Mm-hmm. You have someone's kind of like at that time that investment to be able to direct them the right way or direct them the wrong way, to show them. And this isn't even just electrical. This is just life manners. A lot of these younger kids are also looking to grow in their life as adults. So you not only have the responsibility of teaching them electrical, but you're kind of teaching them how to be an adult as well. Like, at least on the job, like you said, look the part, play the part, feel the part. Aaron Lore, which is my brother, he invested in me. He says, invest in yourself. And that's what you have to do. You have to have the nice tools, but you have to have the right tools. If you're a crew lead, you have to have the tools to get the job done. And sometimes, I'm so proud of my leaders, because I see them donating guys their older tools, or even going out of their way to buy an apprentice a hammer if he stuck around for 3 months or 6 months. So little tips like that and giveaways to your apprentices always help too. Mm-hmm. Make them feel like they're wanted instead
Absolutely.
of just a number.
Absolutely. I think that if we treated this trade more like we were all actually in a brotherhood, instead of so quick. I mean, I really get frustrated when I go and look at different forums and see people arguing back and forth over it. And again, I've done my share argument through the years, especially when it comes to code and whatnot. But a lot of the meetings that I go to, committees that I go on, when I'm labeled out of the gate, I am labeled out of the gate, an a-hole. I'm labeled out of the gate. And I go to these big committees, and it's only because I ask the questions and I make people feel uncomfortable. And people don't like that. Right? I'm always asking, well, why? I don't just take what you say for gospel. Why? And that's probably why when I'm teaching, I explain things multiple times. It's a process of repetitiveness that I use, because I'm trying to explain it, because I believe that there's a reason for something. And I do my best to understand what the reasoning is behind it. Sometimes I might not know the history of something, but I know why we do certain things, because there's reasons that we do it, and I like to explain it that way. But some people feel very uncomfortable with that, So, and I don't care, because I actually didn't get into this trade to make friends. I got in this trade to make money. Then I got into this trade and realized how much I loved electrical work and working with the hands and having the knowledge that other people don't. How many of you guys out there, electricians, love it when somebody tells you to come say, hey, can you come fix this? Because they have no clue how to fix it, but they know you do. That type of thing. Now, do they want to pay you for that? Sometimes they don't want to pay you, but you can make them pay. You paying me. But
that's right. Or cook me a good meal.
Yep, cook me a good meal. So
cook a good steak and crab, and I'm there, man. I'll come troubleshoot your ceiling fan.
Yeah, whatever you want.
Or whatever
Feed
it is.
me. Speaking of eating, okay. COVID has done a number on me, so I'm up about 30 pounds, Jay.
Well, this is a good time to ask about your Ask Paul series that you have
yeah,
coming up.
Yeah, so hopefully y'all enjoying that series where you can ask questions, and that's another good resource.
Oh my goodness, isn't it?
You want to learn something. I mean, I don't know it all, but if I know something that I can share with you, I'll share. So one good way to do it is to go over to this it's actually paulabernathy.com. And you go over to paulabernathy.com, and you actually can post a question there, and I'll respond to your question. And it might even make it into one of our future podcasts. Mm-hmm. And where I try to explain it, because some things it's probably easier for me just to explain than it is to type it all out and that type of thing. So look for that. That's going to be a weekly episode. We drop the introduction, and then I drop the first week, and then next week episode 3 will come out. And I've got 3 more great questions that have been submitted on paulabernathy.com. So again, it's just a way for us to make sure that I answer the questions so that your questions don't get lost in my email. It's just one easier way for me to be able to manage the questions. And I want to answer your questions, that type of thing. So, and also, Jay, if they want topics for future episodes, where can they send those emails for Electrician Live?
I will actually put that inside the chat. It is hosts with an S or without the S, either one. I like to do hosts because there's two of us at electricianlive.com. And I'm going to put this in the chat because, again, we're going to end up just cycling over some topics we've already talked about, which actually is, we've been going strong for a year, so it wouldn't be bad to bring up some of those topics. Like, it'd be great to hear what kind of tools everybody's using out in the field. You know, I know what side of the fence you're on and what side I'm on, but be cool to get into some tool topics. So if you guys got any questions about those, and again, I don't really do many reviews because I don't have the supply, I guess, but I can tell you what I do use on the tool episode and how it's worked for me and the company. So that's always a good topic. I do know that we're next week we're going to have our what you got there?
Well, y'all have heard me talk about this. This is Ron Bowes, his ground rod driver. And we're so used to driving ground rods with the hammer drills now and attachments and all this kind of stuff. But usually when they get down to, right before you get into the ground, this would be great to slide over the ground rod. And you'd be able to drive it further, and you could just drive this down into the ground and drive it down. So this right here is Ron Bowes' tool for ground rod. And I can tell you this thing is pretty robust. There's different ones out there, but this is a pretty good one because, again, believe it or not, the simplistic approach to the flat base and the steel that's involved in this, you can't miss it. There's a lot of them that are just round, and you can miss it, right? But this one you can't miss. And I accidentally dropped this on the floor, and it cracked my hardwood floor. So this thing is pretty robust.
Is Rombo responsible for that?
My floor?
He made it. Yep.
I'll send him the bill.
That's right. That's right. You make a product that dents the floor, Rombo. What the heck?
It's a heavy piece, but again, it's one of those things that you don't think you need until you need it, and then so that type of thing. So yeah, a lot of times you're at locations where you're just going to have to get the sledgehammer and just drive her home. That's when you give it to the helper and you say, "Go at it." And the good thing about that is it protects the end of the actual ground rod as it's driving down. And of course, all ground rods should be driven below grade. Although a lot of them are sticking above grade, it should be driven below grade. So theoretically, it should be also driven below the frost line, but nobody does that. They just drive it below grade. But anyway, so also, Jay, we'll have upcoming episodes that'll come up in the summer. I'll keep you up to date with the code series, because different things that happen around the water cooler. 2023 is, the first draft is due to come out here anytime. And you'll see all the stuff that was done in the first draft for 2023 for those that want to look and see, where things are going. And then we'll start doing what's called second draft stage here very shortly. I think in October, that type of thing.
Nice.
So we'll have a lot of different episodes and different things that I hear rumors around the grapevine. I will say, Jay, we were the first to talk about the issue in Texas, removing the requirement for the GFCI. And of course, after we did that, it seemed kind of weird that everybody else started putting out things on that. But you will say that you heard it first on our opinions of it as well here on Electrician Live. Go back and listen a couple episodes ago about the Texas removing the issue for the receptacle outside, and I can't remember which one it is, 210.8F maybe, or E or F. But they removed that because there was an issue with the HVAC equipment. It's the mini splits type of equipment. So there was an issue with those, supposedly. Anyway, HVAC people don't test for leakage current like we would want them to, so it simply opened a can of worms for them. So again, other people started sending emails about it and talking about it. And again, we've been talking about it the day I think that it dropped. I think the day that Texas sent out the notice, I think we were doing Electrician Live that night or something, and we talked about it. and gave our opinion of it. Are the manufacturers of the HVAC hiding something? We don't know. Did they not? They don't have to meet the same leakage current as others would be. So all this did was unlock something that was already there, that type of thing. So other than that, we should have some great episodes coming up, and I will try to make sure that they work. Hey, usually it's not been very many that they don't work. So I don't know what's going on, but the little tweak that I did tonight for the audio is something that will stay, so I don't have to worry about messing with that again finally. So, other than that, anything else, Jay, we want to talk about tonight's episode? I think up on electricianlive.com, I do have next episode posted, and I think we're going to finish our residential series. We're going to be talking, what is it, Jay? Hallways? What was it?
Hallways, mudrooms, and foyers.
And foyers. Foyers would be pretty interesting, that type of thing. Okay.
Paul, random question. Are you anywhere near Austin where the shooting happened?
No, I'm actually up in McKinney, Texas. So it's 3 hours north of Austin. When did this happen today? Our buddy Dustin Stelzer with Electrician U lives down there in Austin. So hopefully he's okay. Fellow educator down there. But no, that's 3 hours south. And that would not surprise me in Austin. Austin has gone to crap. So it wouldn't surprise me. Anything doesn't surprise me in Austin. It's not the most proudest part that we are of Texans, right? That's not the most proudest area, we would say right now. But yeah, hopefully everybody's okay down there if the shooting did take place. But nope, I am 3 hours north of that. So. All right. Well, I think that's it, Jay. I think we've kind of covered everything we can tonight. Again, apologize everybody for the bad start to the show. We will get that all worked out. And it was a great discussion. Soak up the knowledge. You have options. Share that with the younger people. Don't put so much pressure on your kids. Let them make a decision. College is not the only path. Trades need people. Yada, yada, yada. That's about the summary, right? So there you go. That's it. That's the summary. All right? All right, everybody. Till next time, stay safe. God bless.
You're listening to Electrician Live with your host, Paul Abernathy and Jay Grunberg.